On one side, a 21-year-old sultan, driven by ancient prophecy and a burning desire to etch his name alongside the greatest conquerors in history. On the other, the last in a line of Roman emperors stretching all the way back to Augustus, a man destined to be the final defender of a 1,000-year-old legacy. In 1453, these two men would collide in an epic battle that would seal the fate of two empires and reshape the world. This is the story of the personal duel that led to the fall of Constantinople. In the mid-15th century, two men stood on opposite sides of a shrinking border, their lives locked together by destiny. One was Constantine XI Palaiologos, Emperor of the Romans. He had a magnificent title, but his empire? It was a ghost. Once the master of the Mediterranean, the Byzantine Empire had withered away, reduced to its capital city and a few scattered lands. Constantinople, the queen of cities, was now a hollow crown, its massive walls protecting a dwindling population and decaying churches. Constantine, a brave and dedicated soldier, inherited this ruin. He was a man of incredible courage, but he ruled an empire drowning in debt, a tragic figure holding on to a world that was already gone. Facing him across the Bosphorus was a force of nature, Sultan Mehmed II. When he took the Ottoman throne for good in 1451, he was about 19. But by the time of the Great Siege in 1453, he was a man of 21, and no ordinary one at that. Mehmed was a student of history, a multilingual intellectual obsessed with Alexander the Great and Julius Caesar. He didn't just admire them, he planned to surpass them. Where his father had been cautious, Mehmed was fiercely ambitious with a terrifying resolve. For him, Constantinople wasn't just a strategic city. It was a prophesied conquest, the key to building a new world order. With him at its center, he saw himself as the true heir to the Roman Empire, and to claim it, he had to take its heart. Mehmed didn't waste a moment. His intentions became brutally clear in 1452 with the construction of Rumeliazari, a massive fortress on the European side of the Bosphorus. Built in just a few months, it was a stone dagger pointed right at Constantinople, designed to cut off any help from the Black Sea. Mehmed's ruthlessness was put on full display when a Venetian captain challenged his new blockade. The Sultan had the ship sunk with a single cannon shot, its surviving crew impaled, and the captain's body put on display as a gruesome warning. The message couldn't be clearer. This wasn't a negotiation. This was the beginning of the end. Inside the city, Constantine prepared for the storm. Constantinople's primary defense was the stuff of legend. The Theodosian walls, a triple line of fortifications that had repelled more than 20 sieges over 1,000 years. To protect the Golden Horn Harbor, he had a massive chain stretched across its mouth, stopping any enemy fleet from attacking the city's weaker seawalls. But even legendary defenses need defenders, and Constantine was desperately short on men. His army numbered around 7,000 to 10,000 soldiers, facing an Ottoman force that modern estimates put somewhere between 60,000 and 80,000 men. He sent desperate pleas for help to the Christian kingdoms of Europe, but centuries of religious division and political backstabbing had left a bitter taste. Little help was coming. In the spring of 1453, the Ottoman army arrived. It was a terrifying sight, an ocean of soldiers stretching to the horizon. But the real terror came from Mehmed's secret weapon, a piece of technology that would change warfare forever. He'd hired a Hungarian engineer named Orban to build a series of enormous bronze cannons. The largest, often called the Great Bombard, was a monster nearly 27 feet long that could hurl stone cannonballs weighing up to 1,200 pounds for nearly a mile, though with little accuracy. It took hundreds of men and dozens of oxen just to move it. This wasn't just artillery. It was the death knell of medieval walls. The age of stone was about to be shattered by gunpowder. Even so, Mehmed tried diplomacy first. He sent a messenger to Constantine with a generous offer of surrender. He promised the emperor safe passage for himself and his people, and some sources say he even offered him governorship of the Peloponnese. Constantine's reply became legendary. He agreed to pay more tribute, but flatly refused to give up the city. His final message to the Sultan was one of pure defiance. As to surrendering the city to you, it is not for me to decide or for anyone else of its citizens. For all of us have reached the mutual decision to die of our own free will, without any regard for our lives. The duel was on. On April 6th, 1453, the Ottoman cannons roared to life. The sound was apocalyptic, a constant, earth-shaking boom that shook the ancient city to its core. The great bombard hammered the Theodosian walls, and day after day, sections of the ancient ramparts crumbled to dust. Yet, the defenders fought back like cornered lions. Led by the Genoese soldier of fortune Giovanni Giustiniani Longo, they worked tirelessly every night to repair the damage with dirt and wood. Emperor Constantine was a constant presence on the walls, fighting right alongside his men, his purple imperial robes a symbol of defiance in the face of the storm. For weeks, it was a bloody stalemate. The Ottomans would blast a hole in the wall, only for the Byzantines to beat back the infantry assault and patch it up again. A few Genoese ships heroically fought their way through the Ottoman blockade, briefly lifting morale, but everyone knew this was a battle of attrition they couldn't possibly win. The city was holding on by a thread, its fate hanging on the will of its last emperor and his small band of heroes. It's one of history's most dramatic last stands, a story of unbelievable courage against impossible odds. If you find this clash of empires as fascinating as we do, take a moment to subscribe and hit that notification bell. You won't want to miss our future deep dives into history's greatest turning points. Now, back to the siege, where the young sultan was about to unleash a move of pure, audacious genius. Mehmed knew that as long as the Golden Horn was a safe harbor, he could never fully surround the city. That great chain blocked his fleet, so he did the impossible. In an incredible feat of engineering, he ordered his men to build a road of greased logs over the hill of Galata. Overnight, his soldiers dragged dozens of warships overland, completely bypassing the chain and dropping them right into the Golden Horn. The defenders woke up to a nightmare. The Ottoman fleet was now in their harbor, and the city's vulnerable sea walls, once thought safe, were under direct attack. The psychological blow was devastating. The siege ground on for weeks with relentless cannon fire, endless assaults, and dwindling supplies. The real turning point came during one of the final, fierce attacks. Giustiniani, the charismatic Genoese commander who had been the heart of the defense, was badly wounded. His evacuation from the front lines shattered the defenders' morale. The professional soldier they relied on was gone, and with him went their discipline and their hope. The command structure fell into chaos. In the pre-dawn blackness of May 29th, 1453, the final assault began. Mehmed threw everything he had at the walls. Waves of irregulars, followed by his elite Anatolian troops, and finally, his personal guard, the Janissaries. Amidst the chaos, legend says a small gate, the Kirka Porta, had been left unlocked. Ottoman soldiers poured through, and soon, the Sultan's banner was spotted flying from a tower. The city was breached. When Constantine heard the news, he knew the end had come. Accounts say he tore off his imperial regalia, wanting to die not as an emperor, but as a simple soldier defending his home. With his last remaining men, he led a final, desperate charge into the sea of invaders near the gate of St. Romanus. He was never seen again. The last Roman emperor died anonymously in the heat of battle. His body lost to history, but his legend sealed for eternity. The fall of the city was followed by 3 days of brutal looting, the terrible price of defiance. When Mehmed II finally rode into the fallen city, he went straight to the Hagia Sophia, the greatest cathedral in Christendom. Dismounting his horse, he walked into the sacred space and ordered it to be converted into a mosque. As the call to prayer echoed through the streets, it was a powerful symbol that a new era had begun. He soon called a stop to the pillaging and began the work of a ruler, not just a conqueror. Mehmed's goal wasn't just to take Constantinople, but to make it his own. He declared it the new capital of the Ottoman Empire. He started a massive program to repopulate the city, inviting not just Turks, but Greeks, Jews, and Armenians from across his lands to settle there, transforming it into a thriving, multicultural hub. In a final, symbolic move, he adopted the title, Kaisari Rome, Caesar of Rome. The man who had extinguished the last light of the Byzantine Empire now claimed its legacy as his own. The duel was over. One man was dead, a martyr. The other was victorious, a conqueror. Constantine XI became a legend in Greek folklore, the Marble Emperor, who supposedly sleeps in a hidden cave, waiting for the day to reclaim his city. He stands as a timeless symbol of heroic, tragic defiance. Mehmed became the conqueror, a sultan whose vision and ambition forged an empire that would dominate the world stage for centuries. The fall of Constantinople was more than the end of a city. It was the definitive end of the Roman Empire, which had lasted for nearly 1,500 years. It sent shockwaves through Europe, reshaped global trade, and for many, marked the true end of the Middle Ages. The world we live in today was forged in the fire of that siege, a world born from the epic clash between the last emperor and the young sultan. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.